Hi Cancer, welcome to your May 2020 love reading. It's Raina here. I'm going to just say a disclaimer or an explanation, clarification about this reading. This is for people who are single and looking, or people who are in a relationship that is not working out. Maybe they want to save the relationship, maybe they want to get out of it, but they don't know how to get out of it. And I'm hoping that some message comes through for any of the above, and see what happens. Oops, 2 cards came out. Oh, isn't that nice? These are the 2 cards that came out together. Wow, you got some romantic ones. So this is a romantic one too. Wow, I'm gonna have to take a look at this because this is kind of an interesting. That 2 of Cups and the King of Cups came out, and I'm sure most of you know that cups are related to the element of water. So your sign, Scorpio and Pisces, are all cups. But I mean, I'm saying that's what they represent in terms of elements. Doesn't mean that that's what these are about. So let me take these both at the same time, since I got them at the same time. We have 2 cups. 2 of Cups is a card of either reuniting with somebody, committing to someone, or going back with somebody. Yeah, I said reuniting. So yeah, that was another thing too. Ugh, there's so much with these trains and stuff. So the other thing that these readings could be is if you're in the process, if you're in the middle of a relationship with somebody, and maybe there's been a little bit of you're dating and you want to take it further. Usually with Cancer, that tends to be one of the biggest hurdles, is getting the relationship to get to the committed level, which this card can certainly represent. Getting the other person to commit. Boy, it sure took me a long time to articulate that. And in some cases, this card can relate to forgiving someone, but also for getting back together with somebody. So all of these things can become, possible with this particular card. The card that I drew with it was the King of Cups. Now this could describe that person. I don't know if it's attributed to a specific water sign. I want to say Cancer, but I'm not sure if that's true. But it's somebody who is mature, emotionally mature, who is caring. So, and especially if it's a male, this, is also described as somebody chronologically older than you, but I certainly would not limit it to somebody who is significantly older than you, because in some cases a person may be rather young, but have that emotional maturity that most people their age don't have. So I don't like to, and vice versa. Somebody might be older and be very immature. I will say that the King of Cups can be a counselor, like a marriage counselor. So if you want to get back together with somebody and you're seeing a marriage counselor, that sort of thing. If you're single, to me, the 2 of Cups means that you're looking to commit, and perhaps you are ready at this stage in life to commit. So let's say you're in your 20s and you're getting close to 30 and you're finally ready to do it. Now Cancer, I don't think, is one of those signs that drags their feet about committing. But in any case, whatever that means to you. And the King of Cups, either somebody that you're particularly interested in, or even like a father. Now, father can be connected to the king. When I see the King of Cups specifically, or the King of Wands, I think of fathers who either were very caring, maybe even favored you in some way, or who were larger than life with the King of Wands. And the father becomes this, and I'm talking about if the father, well, it doesn't have to be if the father has passed away. It can simply be because you were daddy's little girl and you're kind of comparing the people that you meet, the men that you meet, to your father, and they're coming up short. Well, of course, that's not fair to these people, and it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. So it's kind of an interesting thing. The father could always be looming in terms of your relationships. And I'm talking about especially if you're single, because you become very picky and nobody's ever good enough for you. But this could very well be a situation, even if you're single, of wanting to get back together with someone. And I feel like it's interesting that I'm picking these cards for Cancer, because Cancer is a very sensitive sign. And so if you feel like the people that you've been meeting or dating lately have been what you would characterize as insensitive, then that may be an issue that is also coming up. In the past position, we have the Two of Pentacles, another two. Twos can relate to relationships, but sometimes there is this sense of indecision or a decision that has to be made. So if there are two parties, for instance, and I'm beginning to wonder if that's really what's going on. If you are maybe even in the position, the passive position of waiting for someone to leave their partner to commit to you, because the king, like I said, can be the father. So are you involved with somebody who is married? And they're using the fact that they are a parent, and that they are trying to, make it easy for their children as an excuse to delay getting divorced. If you find yourself in that situation, Cancer, this is this is the spiritual message, but it's very, even on the literal level, it's really about anxiety, and again, that feeling of you can't control how that other person is acting. And they may be doing what they're doing in order to string you along. Not that they don't care about you, they may care about you, but it's almost like having their cake and eating it too. I got this for another sign as well. And this happens, I feel like this happens so often. So really with the Two of Cups, I look at it as, even if you're waiting for somebody else to commit, that you have to be willing to make that decision yourself, and it's almost like a feeling of honoring yourself. Because there's something here with the Nine of Swords that lurking within yourself that is anxious and concerned with commitment, and unless there's something with you where you have, the other person is wanting to commit and you're the one that's holding back. I usually don't think that way of Cancer, but and I'm talking about even for singles. But if you've been hurt before, if you've experienced the loss of a parent when you were young, you might have trust issues, fear of abandonment, and that can make it hard for you to commit. Now, if you have inner planets in Gemini, like Venus in Gemini, Mars in Gemini, you can be yourself very hard to pin down, having that flirtatious side and that kind of like, what's that word? It begins with an F. I was going to say, not flaky, but fickle. That's the word I was looking for, fickle. Where you have, or have the moon in Gemini, where you have this, or the moon in Libra, you love, but there's always this element of wanting to kind of like have that back door open so that you can just kind of escape because you're afraid. So commitment issues, yeah, maybe they're on your end. I don't know. I want to cover all the bases if I can. But the anxiety that produces, because you're kind of like wired for committed relationships, but that doesn't mean that you're going to follow the script. What crosses you is the Seven of Pentacles. This is a card of, really investing in something and watching it grow. And it's in the challenge position, so it's almost like a sense of impatience, maybe bailing out of relationships before they are able to, before you've given them a chance. So it makes me wonder, do you have Mars in Gemini? Are you kind of like easily bored in relationships? Or again, I really believe in a lot of cases it's that fear of maybe fear of intimacy, getting close to somebody. And sure enough, now that I think about it, look what we have here. This is a card of intimacy. It's not talking about, they're naked and you could say sexual intimacy, but it really is about bearing your soul to somebody. And that's what the nudity is kind of symbolic of that. It's funny because the Lover's card actually connects to Gemini. And this is the card of the choice, of needing to make a choice with something, with someone. And, perhaps there's something like, there's a, this is the crossroads, perhaps. If you're single, this is about prepping yourself for a deep relationship. Perhaps you're one of those people who wants to have a committed relationship like the Two of Cups, but you just don't know how to maintain it because perhaps you kind of push it away after it starts getting more and more serious. Then you do something that guarantees that it's going to kind of just fade away. And so that means that you have to be willing to risk relationship and the closeness that relationships are all about. And that only comes when the person is able to see that there is that tendency. Maybe that's not something that you're consciously aware of. Perhaps this is describing the kind of person, a Gemini individual, or I would even say like a Libra. The outcome, the Knight of Cups, an offer of love. And maybe it's kind of like letting go of resistance. So even if you're single, hopefully, when I do these readings and kind of, if they provoke within you thoughts about maybe how you approach potential relationships, that alone can just release resistance, and then voila, you have somebody come into your life who is exactly what you're looking for. This can be somebody who's artistic, somebody who is very romantic, and that kind of thing. And that's right up your alley, Cancer. So in any case, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal reading, like a relationship reading, or whether you're single, a love reading, or a relationship reading, I do astrology-based readings for the most part, and you can find out what I offer. The link is below. It's rainandmoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.